Hello Mousers! It's been a bit of a while because we had a few problems, but back now and we're going to get straight into it because it's the news on Tuesday and we've got some things to cover. And if you wonder why I'm pointing all the time, it's because apparently it makes things seem more intense and with it and yo, street, I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, let's just get on with it. First up, we have Felix Finkbeiner, a child from Germany who has been planting lots of trees. His project was to plant 1 million trees in Germany and he's had a lot of help with it. He's become quite an international star and he's managed to actually achieve it. He's put 1 million trees into Germany as part of his project to make the world better, reduce CO2 emissions and basically green the planet. But that's not the end of Felix's project, of course. Now it's going international. We've got a group in Britain that want to do that, despite the fact that the Great North Forest project is pretty much already doing that, but it's always nice to see more trees. We could do with a few more forests. So good luck to them here. We've got a load of other chapters coming up internationally, and it looks like it's going to be a hell of a project. So well done there, Felix. I hope that good things happen for you in the future as well. Moving on, we've got this horrific thing coming out of the Trade Union Congress here in the UK. The trade unions got beaten quite resoundingly in the 1980s when they were doing strikes for just about everything, and in the 70s when they were doing strikes for just about everything. So now they decided that strikes are not the way to cause problems for the country. And I do say cause problems because that is basically what they're trying to do. The trade unions start off with a great premise, and it's a very good idea to have a group that can bargain collectively for employees. But the Trade Union Congress itself has become incredibly politicised. It's as far left as you can get without going into basically fascism. It's Stalinist thinking, really, and they are not at all happy with the fact that they lost out to Thatcher. So now they've got these t-shirts which apparently should be worn only when Thatcher dies, which say that you're going to dance on her grave. This is totally inappropriate. There are some things you just don't do. There are lines you don't cross. And saying you're going to dance on the grave of someone you don't like is just wrong. Would these people be selling t-shirts if it said, we're going to dance on the grave of every member of the Trade Union Congress? Would they be happy if the Conservative Party decided that its next fundraiser was t-shirts saying they were going to dance on the grave of Alan Scargill, the guy who caused a lot of problems for the miners in the 80s? Of course not. They'd be up in arms about it. But because they're doing it, apparently that's okay. This is not right. And every member of the Trade Union Congress who has bought one of these t-shirts, allowed these t-shirts to be sold, and put their name to it, should be rounded up and fined. And all of the money that's raised should be going to projects to show people why you have to respect other people. It doesn't matter whether you agree with their politics or not. There are things you don't do, and dancing on the grave of old people is one of them. Goodness sake, people, just grow up. You're not going to agree, that's fine. Just leave it at that. Everyone, in the end of the day, wants the same thing. We want the country to do well. We want everyone to be happy. You're not helping that. You're creating divisions. You're being divisive. You're not helping make people happy and comfortable with their lives. So, grow up, get on with your life properly. Talking about people who can't get on, China and Japan are in an argument again. Apparently Japan has bought a couple of islands that China claims are theirs, and Japan claims were owned by two people that they've just bought the land off. And now it looks like there's going to be a bit of a detente, and I doubt a conflict's going to happen because really it's the kind of situation where one side's going to get royally kicked, the other side is going to suffer a few losses but keep what they've got, and both sides are going to go away hating each other. That's not really what we want to see. They've got to come to some reasonable agreement where they decide what they're going to do over this, because this conflict has been going on for a long time, and Japan has just made another move that's basically prodding the local attack dog, and that's not a good idea. So, what are these islands? Well, Japan calls them Senkaku, and China calls them Jiaoyu. They're small compared to China, but fairly large compared to Japan, so I don't see why they want them. But they've been under dispute for a long time. China claims them, Japan claims them, Taiwan claims them, but of course Taiwan claims them because Taiwan and China were the same place for a long time. So what one has, the other one wants, and things like that. But Taiwan isn't really getting into this. It's just China and Japan. Japan says they own them now, China says they don't. there's going to be a lot of arguments. It's probably going to end up with some trade embargoes or something like that, but not an actual military action, because to be honest with you, neither side can afford to do that. So what can we get from this? Basically, people can't agree, especially when it comes to land, and we're going to have to see how this plays out. Okay, the final story that I want to talk about is crying babies. Now, crying babies is something that I think we all hate. We don't like the sound. We don't like it when it's our own, and we especially don't like it when it's someone else's baby. But babies cry. It's what they do. So, research is now saying that just because a baby's crying doesn't mean you should get up and run to it, which I happen to agree with. I've always been an advocate of letting the child cry for a bit and not fussing over it, not causing more problems in the long term by making the child think that whenever it makes a noise you're going to come running, because that is not going to help you out in the long term, and it's certainly not going to help the child develop independence. But perhaps independence is something that we don't want to talk about when it's talking about really small babies, because they're not independent. But we'll leave that argument for another day. The research now, however, is showing that if you don't come running for maybe 5 minutes the first time your child starts crying, and then you go and tend to it and see what the problem is, and then next time you leave it for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and so on, the child will learn to calm itself. So every time it wakes up in the middle of the night, it'll cry for a bit, sniffle, wail a little bit, and then go back to sleep, which is what you're basically wanting to train it to do anyway, because it helps you with getting a good night's sleep, it helps the child get a good night's sleep, it gets everyone rested, and apparently it also cuts down on postnatal depression, which is a great thing, because the last thing we need is more postnatal depression. It's a horrible, horrible condition, and it can ruin lives. So anything that reduces that is great, and that's pretty much what the research says. So next time your child is just crying uncontrollably, leave it for a little bit, and then go and tend to it. And then next time, leave it a little bit longer, and see how it goes. Okay, that's all I've got time for today. If you like this, remember to click the like button, share it with your friends so that they know what's going on too, and subscribe for future videos. Until next time, I've been Kirk-Robinson, you've been watching a video, and I'll see you tomorrow.